Allow me in the beginning to welcome the renowned scientific figures and distinguished experts who will share with us their valuable expertise and experiences in one of the most critical issues on the international arena. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the forum organized by Creators Union of Arab, consultative status with ECOSOC United Nations, in cooperation with Arab Media Union, under the theme, Water is the main competitor for sustainability. Under the honorable auspices of ECOSOC, United Nations, on the margin of United Nations Water Conference that will be held in New York, 22 to 24th March 2023. Today's subject is one of other themes launched by ECOSOC on water for sustainable development. To value water energy, water food nexus, besides sustainable economic and urban development, and SDGs 2, 6, 8, 9, 11, and 12. Our speakers will discuss certain sub-themes related to the main one. This will be during 2 sessions, 45 minutes each. I have the pleasure to moderate the first session. Dr. Salim, Secretary General, Creators Union of Arab, and permanent representative of the Union at the United Nations. The first session will now begin by the speech of the forum chairman on the sub-theme, encouraging innovation and scientific research to secure new sustainable water resources. Allow me to welcome the founder and president of Creators Union of Arab, consultative status at ECOSOC United Nations, and founder and president of Arab Media Union, media expert, Dr. Ahmed Noor. The floor is yours. Thank you. I welcome all the honored guests and extend my deep gratitude to the United Nations and ECOSOC for the enormous efforts exerted to find solutions for the many several urgent challenges we face in the recent years amid accelerated technological progress. New repercussions were witnessed on the ground, necessitating response by different measures. The innovative minds and creative ideas are the petrol of our days. Our world needs innovation and creation to realize sustainability and promote optimal use of natural resources to build safe and sustainable cities. In this endeavor, I will focus on the importance of encouraging innovation and scientific research to secure new sustainable water resources. The world faces several water challenges that directly and indirectly overlap and relate with other serious issues as climate change, desertification, environment pollution, and sanitation problems, among others. In my opinion, the issue of water comes on top of all due to increasing water demand and increasing the world population. According to the UN statistics, the year 2050 will witness a world population of 9.7 billion. This will incur more stress on water resources. Water scarcity affecting many parts of the world is attributed to many factors as climate change, overuse of water resources, and poor management practices. Water is being polluted due to many factors, including industrial, agriculture, and domestic activities, among others. Therefore, international efforts must come together at all levels, as government, private sector, civil society, scientific research institutions, to provide more financial support to the encouragement and implementation of innovative projects and allow continuation of the scientific research define new measures to meet the increasing demand through two main pillars. Number one, developing new water resources through increasing the efficiency of water desalination, so transforming seawater into drinking water, rainwater collection and amassing, reusing wastewater, storing groundwater to increase water resources, to maintain and improve water quality. Number two, resorting to sustainable management by developing new tools and methods to sustainable water management. For example, remote sensing techniques could provide information on the availability and use of water. Also, developing new techniques and practices that can adapt with climate change, besides managing water resources in efficient, sustainable manner, like resorting to drought-resistant crops and smart water management systems. In the second session, we will meet a prominent figure of youth who has participated in inventing a project for the reuse of wastewater and industrial wastewater. We hope that this will contribute to finding solution to the water problem and will be evaluated by the United Nations. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Ahmed. We hope that we will make use of such brilliant youth. This project will be among the recommendations that will be presented to the United Nations. We have the honor to welcome a renowned political and legal figure in Egypt and Arab world. He held multiple leadership positions, and he is the chairman of the Standing Committee for Euro-Mediterranean Partnership for 3 years. He is one of the most distinguished Arab figures advocating for peace, non-violence, faith dialogues, and the dialogue of civilizations. He is one of the major participants to the Human Fraternity document launched in February 19, 2019 in Abu Dhabi under the auspices of His Excellency Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, President of United Arab Emirates. He will discuss the sub-theme, raising awareness for conserving water resources. Allow me to welcome His Excellency Councillor Adli Hussein. The floor is yours, sir. Thank you so much for your introduction, and I hope that this forum will be the beginning to the participation in the next coming UN conference. Thank you for choosing this important theme with its relation to the sustainable development, as we all know. You have pointed to some positions that I held, being the government of Qalyubiyya that hosts the barrages built by Muhammad Ali, that had a great impact on maintaining water and better use of water that was more than 100 years ago. This project of the barrage was the origin of many other ideas, as the dam of Aswan and the high dam. We must maintain water because it is a main resource of sustainable development that secures food to people and all the living organisms. I have to remind you that water created everything out of water. God created everything out of water. This diagnoses the essence of life. Water is the essence of life. The sub-theme that I will discuss is important Can you hear me? The water issue and climate change has become so pressing, necessitating the action of international organizations topped by United Nations Water and the World Bank, who studies the water systems mitigation and risk reduction. It is not strange that the World Bank convene these studies because these studies are related to the money and the loans that the World Bank gives to states. The World Bank studies are really remarkable. Climate change is only one of many elements that impact future methods of providing and consuming water. Water availability and climate change directly affect food production, as I said before, and also affect the food prices as the demand and supply. Some important studies revealed climate change impact on sanitation, as Dr. Ahmed had said, and the consequent impact on public health and healthcare. Thus, the United Nations designated the year 2008 International Year of Sanitation and Impact on Public Health. Climate change impacts also water availability. Water scarcity will lead to related risks as floods and drought. This will increase the temperature and will impede rainfall and the water cycle as a whole, as revealed by a UNICEF study. This is an important study for the UNICEF. Climate change also impacts the availability of potable water. And according to certain studies, the increased sea level will increase the salination of the groundwater, as Dr. Ahmed has just said. This will decrease the drinking water for humans. This is a remarkable study that I had to mention. Thus, the UN recommendations on climate change impact on water must be considered. Healthy ecological water system, improved water systems could decrease greenhouse gases that came to during a study entitled Water and Climate Coalition. Number 2, wetlands, as all the scientific persons know, wetlands. This needs experts' opinion. Wetlands can act as barrier against hurricanes and absorb excess water by plants and microorganisms within them. Wetlands also store and purify water, and this study was by the UN Environment Program. Early warning systems against floods, drought, and other water-related risks provide investment yields exceeding 10 times the ordinary. They could remarkably reduce disaster risks where 24-hour warning before a hurricane could decrease risks by 30%. That was a report for the World Meteorological Organizations. Number 4, the climate change resilient water and sanitation facilities could save the life of 360,000 infants per year. There was a report for the new climate economy report. You can follow it up. The climate-sensitive agriculture using drip irrigation and other efficient water consumption could decrease the demand. Thank you so much for your attention. Thank you for your important speech. You drew the attention between the relation of climate change and the water crisis in the world. All the studies must consider these two synchronous points. Thank you so much for your insightful presentation. Our next speaker is a shining example of Arab women leaders. She held many leading positions nationally, regionally, and internationally, including Secretary General of Union of Arab Women Leaders, Joint Arab Action League of Arab States, Secretary General for Women Advancement, CEO by Misr Pharmaceutical Company, pharmaceutical consultant and food expert, entrepreneurship researcher and developer in many places, in addition to many other positions in pharmaceutical field. She will discuss adopting energy-friendly alternatives and positively supporting sustainability. Allow me to welcome Dr. Hala Adli. Hussein, the floor is yours. Hello, Dr. Nermeen. I would like to thank the Creators Arab Union for choosing this theme. Climate change is a global challenge, and with other continually aggravating challenges, efforts and experiences should be concerted to save Earth by reducing carbon emissions. The carbon, that is the minimal molecule, is a measurement for emissions besides other pollutants. Environment protection and addressing climate change must be the priority of governments. Community members must have an effective role through individual measures that support government actions. This role is made by Creators Union of Arab, as they do in this forum. Thus, consumers in the future must think when buying products to opt to environment-friendly alternatives instead of the ordinary components that may be harmful, and use all environment-friendly alternatives, including, not limited to, as you all know, the clothes, handkerchiefs. They are outstanding alternatives to tissue paper. They are made of cloth, they are reusable, and can be used for several years. One of the major risks to oceans is the mounting amount of accumulating plastic bottles that, even with recycling programs, 90% of these plastic bottles still accumulate every year. Therefore, as a global trend, it is better to use reusable water bottles. Batteries, as you all know, we all opt now to and tend to use rechargeable batteries because the ordinary batteries consist of many materials that damage the environment. Plastic bags in supermarkets are also damaging to the environment. Common individuals go shopping 1.6 times a week. Therefore, billions of plastic bags are consumed each year. Now, we are better, and many people are stopping using the plastic bags. The plastic wrappings may be replaced by beeswax wrapping. The beeswax wrapping is made by mixing cotton beeswax and resin of trees. It is environment friendly and markedly reduces the carbon print. If you talk about cosmetics and plastics, deodorants, for example, consists of harmful materials, especially aluminum. So natural deodorants that are free of aluminum are much more better because aluminum is carcinogenic. I will talk briefly on pharmaceutical materials and water. Pharmaceutical materials rich water. Many plants try to treat the waste, but unfortunately, many pharmaceutical materials like antibiotics that are highly used, so leading to antibiotic resistant bacteria. And when the doses, therefore, doctors tend to increase the doses. This is very harmful for the health. And some certain studies, Dr. Eva Hammer, a professor at King University in London, on many countries, she found that more than 600 harmful materials exist in rivers. The wastewater treatment plants are not able to control these materials because you know that many remains of these antibiotics and therapeutic materials are excreted by humans. The human excretion, besides, of course, the larger ratio of pharmaceutical materials reaching water from industries itself, is damaging to the water. We lost Dr. Hala. Sorry for the interruption. Many studies and researches in many countries, including India, because India is one countries that has excess raw material in fabrication. Therefore, it suffers pollution. The DBU German institution called for repeating the studies, and they have afforded more than €500,000 for developing new antibiotics that easily decompose. And as Dr. Hala Yusri said, that natural extracts and natural medicine are necessary nowadays because it is more environment friendly and it is safer than chemical compounds. I would like to give an example by China. China, where the corona virus appeared, where the place where natural medicine was used to treat the coronavirus. Pharmaceutically speaking, pharmaceutical industry consumes huge amounts of water. So this high consumption of water will harm the environment and will necessitate the wastewater treatment. And I hope, as Dr. Ahmed said, we must encourage innovation to find solution to the environment problems. Thank you, Dr. Nermeen, and thank you, Dr. Ahmed. Thank you for your insightful presentation, and we will collect all the recommendations and we will represent them in a report for the United Nations. Thank you, Dr. Hala. Now, the first session is concluded and the second session begins. Our prominent speakers will share their expertise, and we will welcome a creative example of youth who contribute to an innovative project on wastewater treatment. Dr. Hala Adli, we are pleased to have you as the moderator of the second session. Dr. Hala, yes, we can hear you. Forgive me for the weak bandwidth. Dr. Hala, you were with us in Poland on the digital transformation. Well, seems that there is a little problem about that. Yes, Dr. Ahmed, it's not right. I don't have a good internet, unfortunately. I'm sorry for the interruption. Now we're starting the session 2 of this event of UN Water Conference. Water is the main competitor for sustainability. I'm glad to start the session 2 with one of the prominent women figures in sociology and desert studies, professor of rural sociology and former chair of social studies department at Desert Research Center. I am very glad to hear her. She represents women in the National Council for Women. Welcome, Dr. Hala. She has great researches on the social impacts for desert and reclaimed societies, rural and Bedouin women, also researches on climate change, desertification, food, sustainable development. Thank you so much for your researches. Thank you so much to have you. The floor is yours. Thanks, Dr. Hala, for your invitation to participate in this forum. I'm glad that our recommendation will be reported to the United Nations, and I hope that they will be taken into consideration. The drop of water is a critical issue, and it will be a critical issue also in the coming years. And as you all know, the coming wars will be water wars. I hope we do not resort to war, and I hope that science will help us to ward against war and to have water through love, cooperation, and scientific research. I greet Councillor Adli Hussein, His Excellency, my dear professor, and our renowned example. And I greet Dr. Ahmed, Engineer Omar, and Dr. Nermeen. I greet all the attendees. I would discuss with you the important things that we must do in the future to conserve water. We are all convinced that the scientific research is the engine that must drive us all and drive all the projects and policies on sustainable development. Talking about scientific research, we quote Albert Einstein. We cannot solve problems by using the same kind of thinking we used when we created them. Einstein says that we must change our way of thinking that caused the problems. We cannot use the same way of thinking to solve these problems. We have to completely change our thinking. We have new scientific methodologies. We must follow them. And also, the research institutions must follow to produce to us an economically, environmentally available project that can be marketed and used in our communities. The scientific methodologies that is used abroad by international organizations as natural-based solutions. The nexus approach. The three-dimension nexus of a triangle, water, energy, and food. The three dimensions must be the core of studies so we can implement these studies. Then the gender approach. We must take it into consideration. When putting policies and programs and plans, gender approach must be put in mind. The interdisciplinary approach. Do you see my hands? This means the different branches of science that are intertwined and not the parallel ones. If you talk about a report, for example, we have a technical report, an economic report, and other report. There must be one report that entails all the details. Therefore, this can be economically cost effective and can be environmental friendly. This will contribute to realizing the real sustainable development. There are other points. The value chain approach. The value chain approach must be used an approach to conserve water. It is a sequence of operations where plant and animal productions give outcomes to be used in other operations until we reach a zero waste. This means there are no waste at all, so water will be conserved. And we have thus maximized the use of all resources. As for challenges, we have many water challenges. The climate change, the increasing world population, it is unplanned and unstudied. The salination of soil and water, and the water pollution. All these challenges, as Dr. Ahmed said, the remote sensor can help. The Desert Research Center can help. The Ministry of Agriculture can help, but all these entities must work together, not separately. So we can have a focus for solution in a sustainable way. Talking about solutions, we must mention that in the 1950s, we had scientific researches that were published in the Desert Research Center on helping and stimulating the rains. We have to think in new ways to do this and to conserve the water. Rainfall collection and storage. We still have many things to do in this vein. We need more efforts to collect rainfall, not only in the desert areas, but also in cities. I have visited Nairobi. There was a lot of water in the streets, and I was confused. How can I go to my hotel? But only 10 minutes, all the water in the streets were collected. Yes, it's true that Cairo and Alexandria do not suffer huge rains, but the other cities that witness huge rains should be supported by such approaches to collect the rain water. And I hope that the private sector can help in this approach. The state of Egypt is exerting great efforts for reusing waste water and treatment of agriculture wastewater. We have unique approaches. We have many places as Bahr al-Baqar and Mahsama that are examples for treatment of wastewater. Using alternatives must be encouraged. We have to think of many alternatives, and we have to resort to drought-resistant crops and desertification-resistant crops. If you allow me also, I would like to discuss rationalization. We witnessed rationalization in agriculture. Some kinds of agriculture and planting crops inside tubes will help conserve water. Greenhouse plants will also allow us to control the temperature and water given. They are covered agriculture or greenhouse plants are characterized by producing crops that can be exported to Europe. This is the hydroponic. Also, we have to use sensors in hotels and all public places so that we conserve water. Religious discourse is very important. Social discourse also on water conservance is important. We have to know the difference between drip and spray irrigation. In the Desert Research Center, we put a pot under each tree. This pot conserves the water. It is a new approach that is used in agriculture and rationalizing water consumption domestically or in plants and factories. Thank you so much for your attention. Pardon me if I dwell too much. I'll be happy to answer any questions. Thanks, Dr. Hala. Thanks, Dr. Ahmed, and thanks, Dr. Nermeen. I was to be with you today. Thank you so much, Dr. Hala, for your presentation. Very insightful. You presented many innovative approaches and solutions. Thank you so much. We are pleased to welcome Climate Ambassador, renowned expert in occupational safety and health, environmental compliance, one of the pioneers to apply safety measures in remote areas, in desert and sea, as being part of a male-dominant sector, that is oil sector. That was a great challenge. Her Excellency had researches focused on physical and biological treatment of wastewater for irrigation. She also has national and international environmental researches. Dr. Hala Al-Manakhli will discuss the focusing on recycling and multifunctional industry for sustainability. Dr. Hala, the floor is yours. Dr. Hala is Dr. Hala is in. Okay. Can you hear me? Thank you for the introduction. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to participate in this distinguished forum. The recycling and reuse of waste is important to provide new resources. As an occupational safety expert, I know that the activity of maintaining equipment and washing of the equipment, it is an important activity in maintaining equipment. The area of washing witnesses maintenance as much as the work of the drilling site itself. This equipment, when get washed, is use high pressure water to remove all the debris from the equipment. This overconsumes huge amounts of water all over the day for all the equipment of drilling. This led to the idea of using agrofiber waste for washing this equipment. All the industrial filters increase the treatment costs. So we opted to get a new alternative that is agrofiber waste. Can you hear me? Using the agrofiber waste for the industrial effluent will conserve the water. The agrofiber waste are very effective and was 80%. It was very effective and could remove 80% of the debris and pollutants of the water, of the wastewater of the drilling sites. The wastewater, when treated, after treatment of the wastewater, we could use it for irrigating unfruitful trees. Natural filters that were used for treatment of wastewater could remove more than 80% of water and air pollutants. And when the process of washing was repeated once and twice, all the pollutants were removed. And these were all according to criteria of recycling wastewater. The treated water were used, as I said, for irrigation of unfruitful trees in the roads. Of course, this caused increase in oxygen level. We did not consume huge amount of water. In conclusion, investors who opt to wastewater treatment should use affordable materials, and so they save money and save water. Then that's what we did. The agrofiber waste were used for treatment of water, and the water could be used for irrigating unfruitful trees in ways and streets. That was my point on using agrofiber waste to treat industrial wastewater. Thank you so much for your speech, and we support you, encourage you for your great research. We hope that it will be implemented, and we are very proud of you being a woman in a male-dominated sector. And we commend all your efforts in occupational safety and health. Thank you so much. As Creators Union of Arab adopts all examples of creation and innovation, of youth. Youth shape the future of nations and are the bedrock of progress and prosperity. The real investment must be in youth because they are the real pioneers of technology. We must promote the role of youth at all levels and support their ideas, insights, and innovations on the ground. Our speaker is one of the pioneers of technology and artificial intelligence who was able to use technology to treat wastewater by using an innovative project called sequencing batch reactor. Our speaker is a student of artificial intelligence at Misr University for Science and Technology and vice president of Robust Club that is specialized in robots and artificial intelligence. He was nominated to participate in COP27 to present his project, and we hope to see him in COP28 in Emirates. He won the first prize in Suad Kafafi Innovation Competition and was honored by His Excellency Minister of Youth and Sport in Arab Republic of Egypt. Allow me to welcome Engineer Omar Ahmed. The floor is yours. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to participate with you in this forum, and I thank you for the introduction. I would like to thank Creators Union of Arab to give the youth the opportunity to share their experience in this critical issue. In the beginning, I would like to say that our approach to solve the water issue is an interdisciplinary approach, as Dr. Hala Yusri said. It is consisted of two parts: computer science and technology. The two faculties work together to produce this innovative project. Allow me to share the screen. Can you see it? The wastewater issue. These are huge amounts of water that are wasted in rivers and seas. It pollutes these resources. The amount of this wastewater comes from hospitals, farms, universities, plants, factories. All these places produce huge amounts of wastewater. The treatment of such wastewater is very costly, needs workforce and money. Therefore, 80% of this wastewater is not being treated or recycled all over the world. These 80% are around 34 billion gallons of water that are wasted each day. It's a huge amount. This is against all meaningful sustainability. That's why we try to find a solution to treat this wastewater and decrease the waste. In wastewater plants, the existing methods take many stages. The stages are separable. When the water is treated in the first stage, it is transformed to the second, and so on. And every stage is made in one tank with separate workers and energy consumption. As students of bioscience and technology, we work together to put together all the stages to be made in one tank. So when every stage could be made in one tank, we saved energy, we saved workforce, and we saved water. The tank is automated. It works by sensors that interpret the parameters, and by such parameters, every stage begins, and all the stages take place in this single tank. We save area, we save energy, we save time. If a wastewater treatment plant could accommodate 10 tanks, every 5 tanks get one product. But the same plant that contains 5 tanks can help more than one place by having 10 tanks. The SBR applications are many. It could work on small scales. It can be used in facilities as hospitals, universities, schools, or even small farms, or domestically. So a citizen can use this SBR to irrigate his garden. There are no bad smells. This is our approach. I would like to mention that it contributes to 4 goals of SDGs: clean water and sanitation, that is SDG 9, industrial infrastructure. We now help to build resilient manufacture. When we treat wastewater that reach the rivers and seas, we decrease the pollution and we decrease the fish inside these waters. SDG 17 on participation. This comes by the collaboration between the biology and the biotechnology and artificial intelligence. I was so honored to be with you today, and I hope that you will support my project. It is great to see innovative and creative youth like you. Thank you so much. You are a shining example for all youth, and I hope that your project will be implemented. Allow me to ask you, as a pharmaceutical expert, could your project help in the wastewater of our industry? Did you try to implement your application on pharmaceutical industry or chemical industries? In fact, not yet. We did not target this field in particular. The goal of the application is to treat wastewater of industry and cities that does not contain many chemicals. We haven't tried the application in the pharmaceutical industry, but we will do that in the future. Thank you so much, Engineer Omar. In the end, I thank our prominent speakers and august guests, and we are pleased to invite you to our next forum under the theme Role of Technology and Innovation in Building Safe and Sustainable Cities, under the auspices of ECOSOC on the 4th of May 2023. I hope we will all be there. Dr. Nermeen will discuss the recommendations. I will discuss the recommendations of the first session. According to Dr. Ahmed Noor, development of new water resources by treating wastewater and taking care of ground water, good sustainable water management by remote sensoring, His Excellency Council Adli Hussein discussed using healthy ecologic water systems, decreasing emissions, considering the link between climate change and water scarcity, providing early warning before hurricanes, storing groundwater, implementing climate-sensitive agriculture, and drought-resistant agriculture. Dr. Hala, of course, talked about pharmaceutical industry and talked about using reusable materials, using natural alternatives in industries, including using herbs in a pharmaceutical industry, developing antibiotics, and developing and making new antibiotics that are environment friendly. These were the recommendations of the first session. Dr. Hala, the floor is yours. We had 3 speakers. Dr. Hala Yusri focused on following scientific approaches to conserve water, to use nexus approach on the nexus of water, energy, and food, to consider a gender issue, gender equality, and multidisciplinarity between sciences. And that was also Engineer Omar's point, to use the interdisciplinary approach. This will lead to the integration of different researches and to focus on applicable researches and those discussing the zero waste, so that all the waste due to agriculture or animal production will be used in other fields so that zero waste could be reached. Stimulating grains, encouraging private sector to invest in water saving fields, rationalizing new agricultural approach by hydroponic plants and covered agriculture to conserve water, using sensors in hotels and domestically to save water, and of course encourage the social and religious discourse to urge people conserve water and save water. The water in petroleum industry will be treated and will be used for irrigation of unfruitful trees. This will be done by using agrofiber waste. In this way, we'll get rid of the agriculture wastes and also the water waste from the petroleum industry. Our creative engineer, Dr. Omar Ahmed, presented to us the sequencing batch reactor that could be used on small scales as hospitals, homes, and schools. Then this will save water. Thank you so much for all of you. And thank you so much for Creators Union of Arab. I thank Engineer Omar, and we hope that his project will be implemented and will be a trigger for all youth to continue the innovation and creation. Allow me to draw your attention that there is an English translation that and will be diffused on the UN TV. I thank the interpreter. The recommendations will be reported to the United Nations in English and in Arabic. And this report will be distributed to you, and there will be certificates of attendance to all of you. Thank you so much for being with us, and I hope to see you in the coming forum in May. It will be on innovation and scientific research for sustainability. Then the intellectual property that is launched by the United Nations on women interpreters will be also discussed. And we will hope that all of you will be present with us. let's have a collective photo, please. Please, all the ladies, open your cameras. Ladies and gentlemen, please, would you please open your cameras? Collective. The interpreter will have the photo in English. The coming forum will be on the 4th of May, 2023, not 2030. Thanks for the correction. I'm so glad to have you all here, and I hope we will meet in the coming meetings. In October, we'll meet in Abu Dhabi in the International Investment Forum. We will be delighted to have your participation. The award of economic creation for honoring the economic examples who work to eliminate poverty. We urge the businessmen and entrepreneurs to help the recovery from COVID-19 and to reach zero hunger and poverty, zero hunger and eliminate poverty. As NGOs, we work and we do all our best to help our communities and society. Thank you so much for this forum. Thank you, all of you. And Engineer Omar, we hope your project will be useful in the pharmaceutical industry. Thanks for Dr. Hala Yusri. Thank you, all of you. Goodbye, all of you. Goodbye.